This podcast is brought to you by lineupmedia.fm.
You know what they say about one bad apple? Well, we've got two. Gather round, boys and girls, and get ready for a different kind of story time. It's American Animals. All your favorite athletes, entertainers, and weirdos are coming to you like you've never heard them before. It's uncensored. It's not safe for work. It's a goddamn zoo. From the OC to oh shit. Join Erik, Bad, Apple, and Ian, Uncle Creepy McCall. Every Wednesday on Hot Button from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific. American Animals on Hot Button. Get some.
Hi, we're here.
Hey, guys.
This is American Animals,
Yes.
number 24.
Is it really that many?
Damn.
Jeez.
Every week, we're just so impressed with ourselves. This is American Animals. I'm Erik Apple. That's Ian McCall.
And apparently we're amazing.
And if you ask us, we're fucking awesome. I think we're fucking amazing.
Coolest kids in school.
And you were hanging out with us. We got a couple great guests today.
Yes.
We're going to talk about some current events and talk about some stuff we have coming up in the world of MMA.
And exciting things that we get to learn about on a weekly basis.
God,
I'm happy. I'm happy to make you happy, my friend.
I know. I just want to learn about something other than what you feel like inside of me.
Yeah, well, that's what we're going to learn about. I'm trying to change your view on the world.
Was that a lot? That was.
What?
I went
Too much? Too soon?
0 to 100. So what's
Literally, we're 30 seconds into the show, and we're already talking about having sex with each other.
what? So what's going on?
Well, I'm just...
You're not quite in like real fight training mode.
I'm almost there. I'm just being happy at home with my family. You know, I have a good friend in town. I was able to go to Vegas for charity poker tournament that my beautiful oldie Han and my friends put on, and it was a good time. You know, we had a really fun time. This is one of the best times I've ever had in Vegas, and we didn't even go out to one club.
Is there a specific senior citizen hotel for oldie Han to be at?
This time was the Rio, yes.
Oh yeah, they have they have handicap access rooms, obviously, right?
It was a good time, and we.
She doesn't think I'm funny right now.
we got it's just right now I'm in a nice easy part of life, and I'm just being a nice at home with the family with her and just having a good time, being mellow.
All right.
What are you doing? What are you doing in life?
I've got lots of stuff going on, but I'm thinking I'm not gonna lie. I really want to do a stand-up fight, Ian.
Do it.
I want to do just one kickboxing, Muay Thai fight, just to say I did one.
Well, then do it, dude. Go do lion fights. Go do something.
The problem is it's not like I have enough MMA fights and enough people know who I am. It's not like I'm gonna get.
No, you're gonna get a good pro kickboxer, and that's gonna probably suck.
I'm not gonna get like, oh, this is your first fight. We're gonna give you some dude who's never fought. No.
Hey, we got a taxi cab driver out back. You want to find him?
Yeah, it's not gonna be like this. I'm gonna have to fight someone legit, and I'm definitely not afraid of that. I'm down for that.
Do it.
I just try to feel it out and see where I want to train at and see what group of guys I want to punch in the face every day.
You got the yard up here in LA with Joe Schilling and the guys.
It's a little far.
It's a little bit far. You have Costa Mesa with Tyler Wombles. It's right next to my jiu-jitsu school. What's it called?
Classic
Kickboxing. You have my gym, Team Oyama. We've got multiple world champions. So you've got a good amount of people around.
I got some options. I understand that.
Yeah, I mean, you have Kings if you want. I mean, that's MMA, but they have some kickboxing,
I'm down.
I believe.
I'm all about Kings. The problem is from where we live, we talked about it, the traffic sucks in the afternoon. It's just dead stopped from Harbor on.
Yeah.
So it's an hour to go 12 miles. Sucks.
It's horrible. And that's traffic time. You have to go.
I'm not a traffic person.
I'm not a traffic person either. I drove up here in traffic today, and it was miserable.
I trip out on people who like choose to live in like LA, New York, places they have to sit in traffic every day,
all day long.
I couldn't do it. I could not do it.
No, it's not my thing.
Is there something wrong with us?
Definitely something wrong with us.
Let me rephrase that. Other than the obvious, is there something wrong with us that we can't handle the traffic?
No, we grew up on the beach, and you don't want to be around people. That's pretty simple.
I literally freak out.
Yeah, it's not fun. I mean, it's not something I look forward to ever driving up here for the show. But it's what you have to do. Again, my family likes to remind me. My dad, he commuted from downtown LA to South Orange County for 39 years.
Wow.
So everyone can eat a bag of dicks, and I just shut my mouth and do my job.
You know, there's a company you can go online and you can order a bag of dicks for somebody now.
Really?
Somebody started that service.
What kind of dicks are they? Like
I don't know.
chocolate?
I don't know what color they are.
No,
I haven't tasted them yet.
what flavor bag?
You
of dicks
can
do
literally order online a bag of dicks to go to someone you don't like, and they will get a bag of dicks in the mail.
want? Like, wow,
That's awesome.
We gotta look that up. Is it bagodicks.com?
I don't know, but
I'm gonna look it up.
It's. I mean, I wish I thought of it myself.
Yes, you should have.
You ever think about those things? Like, man, I should have thought of that, or I already did think of it.
Yeah, the fucking question mark. I'm like, God damn it. My dad invented the question mark. This is bullshit.
You want to know what I thought of, and I was gonna pay to trademark it, and I didn't get around to it, and I really, really regret it. The idea of a MMA or combat sports award show.
Yes,
I thought about this a long time ago, and I talked about putting it on at the Hard Rock way back in the day, like back around the first or second season of The Ultimate Fighter. I had that conversation with Phil Shalala, who was the VP of the Hard Rock back then, about putting it on there, and we just, I don't know, never got around to doing it. And now those guys
now it's huge.
And that's like a big event. Man, they would have had to pay me a lot of money if I would have gone through with that shit.
Yeah, and now it's becoming a big thing. I mean, they have had, maybe 10 years of it?
Yeah, not quite that long.
Maybe not quite
7
10
or
years.
so.
I've never been to one. I've been invited, but I just don't care.
So I wanted to trademark Featherweight of the Year, Lightweight of the Year, all the way up.
Yeah.
I wanted to trademark Comeback of the Year, Submission of the Year, Knockout of the Year, War of the Year, Rookie of the Year. I had all these things in mind.
Yeah.
And it's like $1,100 per category.
Oh, geez.
So it would have been like $15,000 for me to do it. And I was just like, no.
Yeah, not worth it.
I wish I did it now. Can you imagine?
Back then, you're like,
could you imagine those guys were like, oh, we're going to put on this award show, and I sent them a little email or a little letter.
Said,
hey, just so you know, I own all of this shit. So if you want to do this award show, I'm going to be an owner.
Yes, I'm now commentating, and I am owning this bitch. Thank you.
Fuck, we blew it.
It happens. We blew a lot of things.
That's actually kind of low on the list of shit we fucked up in our lives. I missed out on that.
There's a lot worse things that could have been ruined, that have been ruined in our lives.
Now, on the flip side,
yes,
there's a couple things that I am smart enough that I did buy.
Mm-hmm.
I own the name Department of Water and Power. Did I ever tell you that?
You did.
That could be used for any sort of ocean sports brand, surfing, whatever.
A plethora of things.
A plethora. And I also own, I trademarked Violence Solves Everything.
Yeah, well, it's true. Violence does solve everything. I mean, you've seen the post I've posted more than once on social media. Violence is the answer to everything.
I trademarked that.
Good.
So at some point we're gonna sell Violence Solves Everything shirts, and I own that fucking name. So anybody else has a problem with it, can eat a dick.
Yes. What about the memes? Do you get paid for the memes that are on social media and things like that?
I don't think I have time to be calling those people.
You should hire a lawyer.
I might know one.
Yeah, a couple.
So you and Oldie Han had a good time in Vegas?
We did.
Didn't go to the club?
We went to see Absinthe, which is an amazing show. It is so good. And we just hung out and got good food and relaxed and got to be away from everybody and just relax. You know, it was a good time. Be alone.
Chuck and Heidi were there.
Yes, I know.
Did you see them?
No, I did not.
Lucky you.
Yeah, well, they were going to come to our tournament, but they ended up going to a different one. And there's people are busy.
Heidi's pretty big time. It's trying to get her to come to your event is a big deal. You got to call her publicist, talk to her people. They have to talk to your people. You got to provide transportation. It's a big deal with them.
It happens.
Heidi's a superstar.
Yes.
Hey guys, this is Erik Apple from American Animals, and if you like our show and you're a real MMA fan, you got to check out Funky Van Askren, Joe Warren, and Sean Wheelock on the Lineup MMA podcast. These guys got some of the biggest name guests in the entire sport of fighting, and they talk about the shit that other fighters are scared to talk about. So check them out on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or lineupmma.com.
Welcome back to American Animals. I'm Erik Bad Apple.
Wow, eat a bag of dicks. They're a bunch of gelatin dicks. You can order a bag of gelatin dicks for $13.99, and you can send them to someone and just say, hey, you eat my bag of dicks that I sent you.
Ian, I will let you eat my bag of dicks for free.
Wow, I'm
as long as you look me in the eye.
Yeah, as I'm just sitting there nibbling on Sour Patch flavored dicks.
Do you watch the Tommy Tolho show?
No.
Do you know what it is?
I have before, but yeah.
I think it's fucking hilarious.
It is. I don't watch that kind of stuff.
It's funny. So let's talk about the world of MMA.
Yay.
Your favorite subject?
I love it. What's going on in MMA?
Well, let's talk about the tough finale.
Okay, so
Pretty interesting.
that's one thing we did. I forgot to mention that we went to the fights.
Oh yeah.
So UFC.
I saw BJ.
UFC. I saw BJ too, and it's. I got so sad because I never see BJ, and then I see him in an elevator, give him a hug, and then next thing I know, we're rushing around, and I wanted to be like, dude, why don't you have a cell phone? I just want to call you. You know?
No, he doesn't have a phone. Was he carrying the iPad around?
No, but
dude, he carries an iPad around and talks to it.
Someone might have had it, but so we went to the fights and we got to see Demetrius Johnson. I mean, get taken to school. I mean, Tim Elliott was trying everything in the book to beat him. We got to sit front row. It was awesome. And to see Demetrius really pull off that kind of victory where he had to earn it. I mean, he really had to work his ass off. And from a technical standpoint, from a heart standpoint, from each component of martial arts, mixed martial arts, he really pulled it out. And it was amazing. I got to say, that was one of the best fights I've seen in a very, very, very long time.
So a couple questions now. Obviously, I'm not nearly as versed in the lighter weights as you are.
I didn't watch the show, but I got to watch the fights.
Of course not. Tim Elliott, is he a gigantic flyweight?
No. He's my size.
He talked about he can't make anymore and wants to go to 135.
I don't think he's that big. I don't remember him being that big.
He said after the fight that.
I don't think so.
Does this fight, does it lower DJ's stock? Because I mean, he looked bad in the first round, and in 25 minutes he could not finish a guy that got cut from the UFC.
Yeah, but that dude's really tough.
I'm not saying, I'm just being devil's advocate.
Yeah, I know. And DJ really, he got to show that he is vulnerable in certain positions. He is fighting people that are getting better. The whole world's catching up to him, and that's how it goes. That's the name of the sport. And one day he's gonna lose, and he knows he's gonna lose. One thing I heard him saying before the fight was that one day he was talking about how he's going to lose, but it was weird. It wasn't like, oh yeah, one day. No, it was like, no, it's gonna happen, and it seemed like he was feeling it was gonna happen.
Maybe he has the Anderson Silva thing going on where you, and again, I'm not comparing myself to either one, but we talked about this before.
Yes,
I didn't lose till my 10th fight. Now, I felt a weird pressure about that. And I told you this before, that I was almost semi-happy and relieved when I lost. So if you multiply that by about 100 times, I can imagine what an Anderson Silva at his peak, or Demetrius Johnson feels, where he just has all these people who are telling him you're never going to lose and you're going to beat everyone and you're the man and you're the best.
Yeah, of course.
It's like a weird pressure. And if you remember... Do you remember when Anderson fought Weidman the first time? The stuff remember he was doing weird interviews and shit, and he was saying
the whole thing was weird.
He was saying he was going to lose the fight.
Yeah.
He was being a weirdo, and even the fights before Chris that he won, he was kind of fucking around and being goofy and weird, like he didn't want to be there. And then again, he said like, oh, how does this fight go down if it's perfect? He goes, in a perfect world, Chris wins.
Yeah,
So
Anderson's a weird dude. He's got a weird mental.
But again, I wonder if that's a weird position to be in, and DJ's starting to feel it too. Even though he's the man right now.
I mean, he's been talked about as the best pound for pound fighter on the planet for a long time now, and maybe it's his time to lose. It's whose time it is to win? This guy. I'm coming back. I'm fighting soon, and I'm gonna kick some ass, and I'm gonna take that fucking belt from him. I need it. I need it just to put a stamp in my life, and then I can wander off into the sunset.
Well, what about some of the other fights? We had Henry Cejudo against someone you know very well, Joe Benavidez.
It was a great fight, and I knew Joe would win. I thought Joe was going to finish him probably later in the fight, but it didn't happen. It turned out to be a really good fight.
Well, it was an interesting fight. Cejudo's a powerful, intense dude. That level of wrestling is, I mean, it's incredible, and the strength you get from it is otherworldly. I mean, you wrestle, you actually grapple with someone who's made it to the Olympics in wrestling. I don't care who you are; they're going to throw it in your face. Oh, they lock up with you; it's done. You're a fucking Superman. The fight was weird.
Yeah,
weird to say the least. I thought Joe won though. Joe did good. What else? Ellenberger.
Ellenberger and Masvidal. So me and TJ Dillashaw were sitting right next to each other, and when that foot got stuck right in front of us in the cage, and we were looking at each other like, do we go say something? Like, should we? They were already on the UFC was already on the ball right away, which was awesome. But the first thing through our heads, looking at each other, was like, dude, we need to say something about this fight because his fucking foot is stuck in the cage, and he's getting and he got TKO'd that way. I mean, granted, it wasn't much of a TKO.
So he's going to contest the result and ask for a no contest.
Yes, which on a rare occasion he will get he should get it because his foot was stuck in the cage.
He should get it, but we both know how rare it is for any athletic commission to say that they were wrong. And
yeah, but out of all the excuses, or out of all the happenings, all the things that would go down, that is one that should be contested for sure.
I don't disagree. Another thing that went down this week is Dana White and the UFC announced that they're going to add a women's 145-pound division.
Well, all hail King Cyborg, or Queen Cyborg, sorry.
And it's interesting that she turned down 2 fights already at that weight. But I understand she had some legit health problems after the last fight. She had to cut 25 pounds the week of the fight last time. George Lockhart, who was doing her weight and nutrition, apparently didn't work out very good. She had the worst weight cut of her life. Yeah. And after the fight, she was very sick and very unhealthy. She said she went to get blood, and her blood was sludged because they wanted to test her.
Yeah.
They couldn't even draw blood. Her blood was so sludged.
People don't understand how big of a woman she is. I mean, and I'm not saying this in any fucked up way.
No, Chris is awesome.
She's an amazing woman, and she's an amazing talent. Okay, she is a fucking badass, and she's a big girl. I mean, she's not, and it's not like she's like weird big. She's just got a big frame, and she's fucking huge. I mean, she shouldn't have to make 135. She should make 45s, and that's fine. She's just out of her size limit. I don't know why people keep making this thing for it when Ronda Rousey was in the Olympics at like over
150.
Yeah. So what's the fucking deal? I don't know. And she's gonna throttle everybody at that weight. It's gonna be amazing. We get to watch her kick the shit out of a bunch of people. It's gonna be awesome.
I wonder if they should go get that Joanna Bears chick that the only one she lost to in kickboxing.
She would take her down and submit her real quick.
And you think she would? Or do you think she would want to?
I think that she's smart enough to just take her down and submit her. Because that chick already kicked her ass once. And granted, it was pure kickboxing, and Cyborg was able to take the beating and
she hung in there.
She hung in there well, but she got fucking schooled. I mean, it's a very, very big difference between high-level professional kickboxing at a world-class level versus the best female mixed martial artist on the planet. And that says a lot. She's
real tough, and she's real good. And you know what?
And violent, holy shit.
It all comes down to dollars and cents.
Yeah.
And her fights put butts in the seats and people's eyes on the TV. So
exactly,
good for her to give her own weight division where she can get a belt. Most likely,
she will reign supreme. She will smash everybody, and she'll make a lot of money. And that's good for
she
her.
Deserves it. Good for her.
She does.
Moving on, I saw in the news this week Conor McGregor is going to. He asked a Nevada judge to review his Nevada Athletic Commission judgment of $150,000. He doesn't want to pay it.
And he also applied for a boxing license in California.
We talked about that last week.
Oh, we did. Okay. So there's that.
If people remember, he got fined $150,000. Plus, he has to do an anti-bullying campaign in Nevada.
$150,000 for throwing a water bottle.
Well, he threw a monster ball.
Whatever. Fuck you.
It's a little dangerous. But it is definitely, no matter what.
He was throwing them at people that were throwing them back at him.
It could have been a nitroglycerin bottle. That's still too much money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Conor already said, I don't see myself fighting Nevada. They can go fuck themselves.
Ever again.
And now he's just said, I don't feel like paying this fine. I'll just pay my lawyers to go talk to somebody else about this, which is hilarious.
I like the way he does it. I like the way he plays. It's
good
awesome.
for him. And one more thing I got for you. We had some of the lawyers who have been involved in the antitrust lawsuit with the UFC.
Yeah, cease and desist.
They sent a cease and desist to the Mixed Martial Arts Association. I don't know.
It's MMAAA.
Mixed Martial Arts
whatever.
Association of America Anteaters.
Yeah. From my rhyme.
Whatever.
Banging my head off the wall. It's just one of those things that,
Man, this is going to be a mess.
I know. This might have fucked it up. This might have ruined it all.
Well, we already have Cowboys saying, well, I didn't realize I was on the board and all this shit. Like, I don't have that many complaints, which, look, at the end of the day.
He probably got a phone call from Dana.
He did. No, he said he did.
And yeah, that's why I was very open about it. I'm like, listen, I'm just asking questions. I'm just trying to educate myself. I'm not on anyone's side here. Like I'm going to do my due diligence before I hop on board with anything.
Well, here's the thing. We got the PFA, Professional Fighter Association. Yes. We got the MMAAA.
Yes.
and there's one other one I'm not thinking of right now. There's multiple antitrust lawsuits going on against the UFC. Kung Lee and John Fitch are involved in one. Nate Quarry. Now listen, everyone's hearts and minds are in the right place, but here's the deal. Sending each other cease and desist letters and competing against each other, everybody's got to get together. Because if everyone's, I mean, it's so corny, but divided, we're going to fall. Everybody has to get together and be on the same page together. There cannot be 3 different associations and a union and an antitrust group. Everyone's got to get together.
Yeah,
or it's not going to work.
That's the only way it's going to work, because you can't have, all these people pulling it in different directions. It's no one's going to get anything.
I mean, it drives me nuts.
Or they're going to get anywhere. See, that's the thing. Some of these organizations, or some of these, these lawsuits are just trying to get money. Just trying to get money for certain people. The others are talking about how they're trying to do it for everybody involved. But, who is full of shit and who's not? I don't know.
Did you see the cease and desist letter?
I read about it today. I didn't see it.
Ken Pavio's name's in it.
I did see that. That was one of the first things that I read, and I started laughing my ass off.
I was like, whoa, what?
They talk about Bjorn. They talk about Ken. They talk about these shady things or people that are around this organization. So they have a point, man. They got a fucking point.
I can't wrap my head around the Bjorn thing. I mean,
it doesn't make sense.
He doesn't give a fuck about the fighters. I know he doesn't. He does not care. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just have a hard time believing it.
Yes.
Again, Bjorn never did anything bad to me, but the way he treated Eddie Alvarez and other fighters.
A lot of people that are
he shit on a lot of people
Yeah.
publicly, and it hurt people's careers and cost them a lot of money. Man, I just can't believe that he just all of a sudden wants to fucking help everyone out.
Yeah. All of a sudden being the good guy, trying to, no, I'm just trying to make sure everyone doesn't get walked all over and no one gets hurt in this thing. It's like,
he's in my mind, CAA is behind this, because as we all know, WME-IMG, who is the new owners of the UFC, they represent Ronda Rousey,
exactly,
and a whole bunch of other
Tim
UFC
Kennedy.
fighters.
Yeah.
No, Tim Kennedy's not WME.
Who's CAA?
CAA is the one that Tim is on.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
So I'm thinking they're funding this and taking care of this. I'm thinking that they and Bjorn are doing this to go after WME. Now,
of course,
I asked around to some people, attorneys I know in Hollywood, and they told me CAA, that's what they're known for. They're involved in all kinds of lawsuits. That's their thing. They go after anything goes wrong, they just sue people. Now, let's take a step back. It is illegal, technically illegal, and against the rules for the Nevada State Athletic Commission for a promoter to also represent fighters. Yeah. And that's what's going on.
Exactly. That's an illegal thing.
If we go back to Ali from World Series of Fighting, that was the whole stink with him.
Exactly. And he's a terrorist.
Literally.
He's literally a fucking terrorist.
He has a ton of I like shit. I get along with him.
Fuck, dude, if you're a fucking terrorist against my country, fuck you, beat it. I will fucking threaten myself.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't get it. I don't dislike any person, color, race, or creed, but you're a fucking terrorist against my country. Fuck you.
So that was the whole stink with him. With the Athletic Commission was like, yo, you have to quit one of these 2 jobs or you're in big fucking trouble, or World Series of Fighting is in big fucking trouble. Which, by the way, I'm told they still might be in trouble. The organization. I heard they have some problems.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Because of Ali. So
you can't just take it back.
Okay, but let's say what's fair. So he couldn't do it. Why can the WME-IMG do it?
They shouldn't be allowed to do it. It's simple.
I mean, it is a conflict of interest. You represent fighters who fight in a show that you own. So obviously those guys are going to get the best deals and get taken care of and get promoted. Yeah. Which isn't fair. I mean, I don't know. Life's not fair. Life's not fair.
It's one of those situations where we all see the shady things going on. We all see the what the fuck kind of questions, but I mean, it just has to play itself out.
What's going to happen?
I don't know.
I just don't know.
I don't know. I never know.
Dun, 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 dun. So there you go. Anything else from the tough finale that you want to tell me about? How is BJ looking?
BJ looked good. We literally talked for 30 seconds, and then there was just crowds of people pulling us around.
Weren't you guys sitting by the cage together? Or close?
No, he was sitting literally...
with Dana.
He was sitting at opposite side of the cage with me.
How little does he look?
He looks like average size BJ. Just normally he had, sweatshirt or like shorts and a sweatshirt on, so he just didn't look... couldn't really gauge his size, and plus I was fucking hammered.
Well,
so.
I know that I'm too big to spar with him anymore, Jason said.
You are?
I mean, I've been sparring with him forever.
Yeah, well, now it's my turn. You know?
Have you been going over there?
No, I haven't. I haven't got a fucking phone call because BJ doesn't have a
Fucking
phone.
Perillo.
I know.
I'm gonna text Perillo right
I get
now.
a text message from someone going, "Hey, BJ says hi." Oh, okay. I'll see you there, buddy.
Oh, you got that from Perillo?
No, I got it from fucking Zach Naminsky.
So, for you guys who don't know, BJ Penn doesn't carry a phone. What he does is he carries an iPad, so he just FaceTimes with like his chick or his or JD. That's all he does. It's hilarious. It's literally hilarious. So, I really hope that these guys, man, I want to see BJ do good. Talking about BJ, I suggested that he train with Raymond Daniels.
He should. I mean, everyone should train with Raymond Daniels. He's an amazing kickboxer.
So, are you irritated with Jason because he hasn't invited you to come over there and punch BJ in the face?
No, I have been training and doing my own shit, so I'm not really that irritated. It's okay. I'm looking into your phone right now, into your Snapchat. It's not that big of a deal, but I'm pretty good, and I do miss you guys. So call me.
Perillo, I think we should just dojo storm Ruka and fuck everyone up.
Dojo Storm. I'll go with my
Dojo Storm.
my gi on and my purple belt, but fuck you.
We'll bring Marco.
Exactly.
Fuck those guys.
Perfect. We got him.
Hey guys, this is Erik Apple from American Animals, and wow, I was listening to the Ocho Man Behind the 8 Ball podcast the other day, and I realized this might be one of the funniest fucking shows I've ever heard. You've got to check it out. These guys do 2 shows a week on the Lineup Media FM network, and I'm listening to all of them now. You can get them on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or ochoman.com.
All right, welcome back to American Animals. You are hanging out, as always, with Erik Apple and Ian Uncle Creepy McCall.
Of course.
We are coming to you live from the Dash Radio Studios here
Hollywood.
in Hollywood, California. And you also might be listening to us on the LMG Podcast Network.
LMG.FM, right?
That's right. All kinds of great content on the LMG platform. But we are now live and direct. We have none other than the California Kid, Urijah Faber. Thank you so much for getting on the phone and calling us, buddy.
And his sidekick, Cody Love,
What's
No
up,
Love.
guys?
How's it going, boys?
Actually, yeah, Cody No Love's here. He's in the champ camp, just soaking his marinating the fucking goods in the spa right now, trying to relax.
Nothing better than modern technology. Ian and I are sitting in a state of the art music studio here in Hollywood, California, and Uriah's in a hot tub with a sexy man with tattoos.
With another man, yeah. It's perfect. I love it.
Yeah, that's right.
Ian's like, well, I would trade.
Any day.
So
he would.
So Urijah, let's talk about you first. You have a fight coming up here, not this weekend. Next weekend, you are fighting December 17th in Sacramento, California at the Golden One Center. You will be taking on none other than Brad Pickett. And this is what you say, and most people say, is this truly going to be the California Kid's last fight?
Yeah, I think so. The truth is, I've been doing this a long time, man, and it's kind of the perfect setting for me. I've got, my new arena, my hometown. It's been a long time competing at the highest level, multiple weight classes, and about 2 weeks after Cody's fighting for the title in the same weight. The same night, Paige Van Zandt is headlining on a national card.
Where's this fight at? Where's Cody's fight?
He's fighting
Cody's
December
fighting
30th?
in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
He's fighting Cruz. And I don't know, it just feels right, man. The excitement and the energy has just been different for me as of late. I still like what I'm doing, but I've got a lot of irons in the fire, so I think it's time to kind of focus on some other things and help this next generation start doing their thing,
Well, after 13 years, Urijah, I mean, it kind of makes me sad to think that, I'm not gonna see my old friend fight in the cage one way or the other.
Yeah, man, it's been a minute. I mean, like I said, you called some of my first fights, bro.
Yeah, I believe.
You tried to name me the Relentless. Remember you tried to give me that nickname?
I don't remember, but I believe you.
Yes.
And now I remember the first time I saw Urijah Faber fight. I was commentating for King of the Cage, and he fought a guy named Rami, who grew up where we grew up. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Next generation.
And Rami was what we considered a pretty tough kid.
Yes.
And I remember I don't think I met you, Urijah, before you fought. And I remember seeing you come out, and you got this goofy smile on your face.
Shaggy hair.
Shaking your hair in your face, kind of. And I just thought, oh, boy, this poor guy doesn't know what he's getting into with Rami. And about 30 seconds into the fight, I changed my mind. I said, oh, this poor guy doesn't know what he got into with Urijah. I switched real quick. I was like, oh, boy.
Right.
And I remember specifically, Urijah, that there was a scramble in that fight. And you did a spinning back fist on the ground. You were on your knees or on one knee. And at that point, I was like, oh boy, this guy's
He's a
intense.
savage.
Yeah, it was crazy. You know, that fight's pretty. I remember that fight because I came out and I threw like a fake, like weird right hand, and then like reached back and threw the same punch, and then kind of threw him right off the cage, like bounced him off the cage and like jumped on him, like the opening scene. And King of the Cage was trying to figure out their shit at that time still, so they had like a weird like over the top view of it instead of like being in the action. And it looked kind of crazy. But that was a good fight, man.
They had a boom camera like way up high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me let you in a little secret, Uriah. King of the Cage is still trying to figure their shit out.
Yes, Cherry Jumblecock is still working on it.
I don't think it's going to happen ever.
Uriah, you know, I'm looking at your record here. 43 fights. This will be your 44th fight. Tell me, is it? I mean, are you happy? I mean, obviously you have a great opportunity to fight this show in your hometown crowd in Sacramento. You have some people that train out of your gym under you that are also on the card. I mean, it's got to be kind of weird having Paige headline a card and you're fighting on her undercard.
You know, it's crazy. I just remember the process of having, Tito Ortiz underneath me on a card. And
wow.
Vanderlei Silva underneath me. And thinking the same thing, like, man, this is still strange. For me, it was weird because
you had Vanderlei fighting under you too.
Watching, yeah, on a couple different cards. You know, these big names fighting underneath me. I remember fighting in a King of the Cage where with Don Fry on the card, and these guys that I looked up to, and it's just kind of like the UFC is smart. They know how to pass the torch, how to bring one person's fan base and pawn it to another generation, and I think that's kind of the recipe with them. They get a big name guy and start building the next money you guys that are going to have, like Sage and Paige.
Well, of course. Now, you're right. Out of all the things you've done, I mean, you've given this sport, especially at the lower weights, I have a lot to thank you for. You've done more for this sport than anyone else ever at the lower weights, for sure. They're hands down nobody else. What is the one piece that sticks in your mind as from your heart? What's the best thing you think you've ever done? The greatest thing you've ever accomplished so far?
Like, what are you most proud of?
I would say, I think that it's one thing to bring some notoriety to the lighter weight guys, like you're talking about. It's another thing to build a group of guys that kind of precedes me and goes on to do big things. That's really cool also. But I just think the all around attitude has been the good part for me. I mean, I get a lot of compliments, a lot of fans that appreciate that I do it with a smile on my face, that I say hello to my mom, and I'm just being me. But I hope that the enjoyment that I bring to it is something that I'm remembered for, on top of having the fighting spirit and doing things other than just fighting. Just having a great attitude, because that's a big key to life in general, and that's going to help me in whatever else I do next.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Uriah, tell us about some of the emotions you're going through. Considering this is what you say is your last camp. I know you've had 44, 45 fights. You wrestled all your life as well. I mean, you've done this for so long. Is it bittersweet? Is it a relief? Is it a celebration?
You guys know, it's a friggin' tough way to make a living these days. You know what I mean? It's like, I really do enjoy the process, and I'm not going to get away from being in the gym on a daily basis, but there are parts of me that is going to miss a lot of this stuff, and there's other parts of me that's like, holy crap, I'm not going to have to like push my lungs so I feel like I'm going to explode on a run, or step in and go toe to toe with a guy like Cody Garbrandt, who, like, you flip a coin and you're getting rocked, on any given day. Like, this is a fucking tough sport, man. And so there's things I'm going to definitely miss about it, and it's also going to be kind of nice to be able to not sacrifice my body as a profession, and be able to keep my mind sharp for whatever's next. So it's a mixed bag.
As I go through your record, we talked to Cub Swanson last week, and he has fought everyone there is a fight in his division, and you really have done the same. Out of all the fights, Is there anybody in the smaller weight divisions that you never had the chance to compete with, that, not because of a personal reason, but because you just wanted to get in there and see how you do with them? Is there anybody that you missed?
Yeah, there's as time goes on, people forget about the stars in this sport, and I get a lot of credit for being one of the bigger stars in the lighter weights and someone that helped bring a lot of notoriety. But Kid Yamamoto, there was a time when he was massive. I remember when I was trying to gauge my popularity and seeing a guy like Kid Yamamoto and basically seeing, his YouTube hits at like 250,000 and mine at like 4,000, and thinking, here I am, we're on little pay-per-view cards for Gladiator Challenge or King of the Cage or whatever it is, which, don't move the needle. And then you've got this superstar over in Japan. And so I was always calling out Kid Yamamoto. When I was in WC, I was like, Kid Yamamoto, when you coming over here, this and that. And, he had a chance to come out in San Diego, and we drank a couple beers together. And,
that's cool.
That was one guy that at his prime and at my prime would have been an awesome fight, would have been a big fight for everyone.
Now, were you disappointed with with his results once he came to the U.S. and fought? I was.
All of us were.
Yeah, a little bit, but that's a kid who's naturally talented. I think his dad is like a Olympic level wrestler. His sister's an Olympic wrestler.
I think his dad was a wrestling coach, right?
High level athlete.
His sister's the greatest wrestler ever to walk out of Japan, especially female.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so he comes from a pedigree where I'm sure he worked hard, but he probably didn't work as hard as I did.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you tell all your friends, wait till this guy from Japan comes here and fights. He's so good. And then he comes here, and the casual guy looks at you and goes, he sucks. What are you talking about? What do you mean that guy's good?
Yeah, but hey, on his behalf, though, he was also a little bit older. And then the other side is the first fight he had where he's supposed to come out, he fought Demetrius Johnson. Remember?
Yeah.
And it was like, Kid Yamamoto's going to do these big things, and he fights Demetrius Johnson, who later turns out to be one of the best fighters pound for pound and everything else. So, it's a tough sport.
Urijah, and again, we're talking about your legacy because we're talking about your last fight coming up. Is it more pressure for you, or is it a relief for you to be able to compete in your hometown? Because more people are going to be there, more people are bugging you for tickets or to come see you. Is that a welcome feeling, or do you not like to deal with that? Would you rather go somewhere else where you don't have to think about that stuff and you're just there to fight?
I'm just soaking this one up. I mean, there's nothing like fighting in your hometown. Vegas, of course, is a close second, but for me right now, this is a huge opportunity for me to close out an awesome career and do it and enjoy the whole process. And so I'm enjoying the process. I'm settled into my home, and my team is clicking on all cylinders, and just we're having a great time, and so I'm enjoying it this time around, even though it can be a little hectic.
Have you been rousting your teammate a little bit because she's headlining the card?
Oh no, not at all. Hey, we've been trying to pump Paige up, and she doesn't need any help. She's a superstar, so I like it.
Now, you're fighting Brad Pickett. Brad Pickett's another veteran that I've fought. He has kind of been on the fence about saying, the last couple fights are going to be his last fight. Have you heard any word on whether this is going to be his last one either or not?
He reached out and just said that, this has lit a fire underneath him because he's so excited to have a monumental fight. He can't wait to put on a show. And I really feel like this is an exciting time for him as well. I mean, this is a big fight for both of us. And so, we'll see how he performs. I know that he's been around a long time, like the vets all from the WEC, but I haven't paid any attention to whether it's his retirement or not retirement, whatever. It's just a fight that I know is going to be a nasty one because he's excited about it. I'm excited about it, and we love to fight. So
go ahead.
His plans after that, who knows?
Go ahead, Urijah. Whatever questions you have to ask about the fight, about your opponent, Ian's right here.
Yes, I can tell you. Tell you how to beat him.
That's right, Ian. What do you think, buddy? What's the best game plan?
Man, he hits hard in the pocket, but just don't let him touch you. He actually asked me after the fight. He goes, "Shit, did I actually fucking touch you? Did I actually punch you in the face?" So I went out of my way to make sure to post a picture of him hitting me square in the jaw on social media, just because Brad's such a nice guy, and
he is. I like
Moomin had killed him.
Yeah. He had Almeida in some trouble, dude, and then got caught with an unlucky one. So he's going to be no joke, dude. I'm prepared for a wild battle.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. And he can take a punch, I'll tell you that one. I mean, I don't hit that hard, but geez, yeah, I hit him with everything I had.
Well, one more question before we go to a break. Urijah, I hate to be the devil's advocate. I'm going to ask you a question that might sting a little bit, but are there any fights, are there any of the few losses that you have that stand out in your mind that you wish you had the opportunity to get back more than any others?
I would say the whole series with Mike Brown. I mean, I like Mike Brown. He's a good guy, but I lost my title to him. I was doing a jumping back elbow and clothesline myself with a punch, and it wasn't unconscious. It was getting unanswered punches while covered up. And then the second one, I broke both hands. I broke one hand and dislocated a thumb. So,
I remember you were just trying to elbow and stuff, like the fourth and fifth round, if I remember properly.
Yeah, I was letting him punch me so he could get close, and I'd elbow him, and I'd fake a takedown, throw a knee, and then he'd take me down, and I'd have to scramble up. So those two fights there, he's a very tough opponent, but on a good day, I'd like to have those back.
All right. Well, we're gonna get to another song right now. We're gonna come back with some more from Urijah Faber, the California kid who competes in the UFC on the 17th in Sacramento. Make sure you guys see that. That's gonna be on Fox, correct? Yeah, Fox 22.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Erik Apple from American Animals here, and guess what? Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. And you get it right through our website. I'll tell you one example and a great thing I would recommend. I'm a Star Wars fan, and the best thing to do is listen to audiobooks, the Star Wars audiobooks. They're great, and they have awesome sound effects as well. So download your free audiobook today. Go to audibletrial.com/animals. Again, that's audibletrial.com/animals for your free audiobook, or check out our website, www.2americananimals, and that's the number 2americananimals.com.
All right, guys, welcome back to American Animals. You're hanging out with Erik Apple and Ian McCall as always.
Boys.
Make sure you find us at the number 2 American Animals on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, www.2americananimals.com. Make sure you follow us, like us, all that shit. Stop lurking. And we are still on the phone with the California kid.
LMG.FM, people.
Urijah, real quick, how do people find you on social media?
Urijah Faber on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and then on Snapchat, it's Urijah Faber and the number 1.
Ooh, number 1. So somebody else already got the rate, just Urijah Faber on Snapchat? They fucked you?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, it sucks. That sucks. Okay, so we were talking about during the break for a minute with Urijah. So Ian's had this kind of little playful battle, or kind of
I like to talk a lot of shit. I'm good at it.
Pissing contest with some of the guys from Uriah's team, but I thought it was all fun and games, just kind of fucking with each other. But is there more to it, Urijah?
That's what I was saying in the break. You're like, hey, should we put Cody on? And I was like, yeah, he's a little preoccupied at the moment, but he's like, I don't really get along with McCall. So I'm saying, it is
It's
kind
okay,
of a playful
buddy.
gig with McCall. Me, I can give him, take jokes and give him out, whatnot.
I can give him a hug.
Cody's he's not the guy to really like to have this kind of jokes.
But did you make fun of Cody? Did Ian make fun of Cody too?
I make fun of all those douchebags. That's what I do.
He said we're like a bunch of douchebag fat guys.
A bunch of jocks.
We had a whole
We just come from different worlds.
dedicated to being douchebag fat boys, fist bump. And I think the guys got all hammered on the show, and it was all dedicated to Ian. So
Listen,
it's been a fun rivalry, but
if
Cody needs those little edges.
Yeah, he needs it.
If you can't make fun of yourself and have a good time, then who, you know what I mean? Who can?
Exactly.
So Cody, but you never even fought Cody or anything. Why is he mad?
No, I don't
Is he
know.
just defending his friends?
He's just late to the party, and he's defending his friends. I get it.
He just wants to fit in.
I made fun of his dad. I made fun of Uriah. He's gonna get mad about it.
Oh yeah, he made fun of. Yeah, he made. You're saying I'm his dad?
Yes.
When you made fun of Uriah too?
No one is safer on me. It's fun. That's what I do. What are they gonna do? Beat me up? That's the worst thing that can happen.
I taught him well, Uriah.
What's gonna happen? I think Joseph and Ian were gonna get back on.
Yes.
In the cage
That's a match that needs to happen.
What'd you guys think about Joseph and Henry?
I knew he was going to win the fight.
I thought he won.
I thought he was going to knock him out, to be honest. But yeah, that
Henry
was
pretty good, though, didn't he?
Yeah, Henry looked better than I expected him to be. So honestly, I thought Joe was going to walk all over him.
Yeah, Cejudo did better than I thought.
Yes.
But I still think Joe won a close fight.
Oh,
but
by
it's
far.
it blows my mind when there's these people that have these like razor thin decisions one way or the other, and then they whine about it. It's like, if it's that close, it's your fault. If you didn't finish the fight or dominate, don't cry about what happened. I mean, it sucks, but you don't act like you got robbed.
You should have done more.
Yeah.
Knowing it's robbed in a close fight just sucks when you lose.
So, Urijah, tell us about what it's like passing the torch, and you have these other guys in the gym. You have Cody, you have Paige. Is the same kind of pride there with you guys with helping these guys as it is for yourself?
Man, there's a lot of pride involved with it. I mean, I get to have a bunch of these guys that came in wearing my shirts, and now I'm wearing everyone else's shirts, and seeing them on the main events and on commercials, and just, I don't know, it's a special kind of feeling when you have build something and then watch it really flourish and watch it change people's lives. I mean, when you have these guys that are having success, it's one thing to see that it changes their life, but it's a ricochet effect. A lot of these guys don't come from the best upbringings or surroundings, and they start motivating their high school buddies, they start motivating their family, and that's the coolest part about the whole thing.
Urijah, one question I have for you is, when you're cornering these guys or coaching these guys and they fight, how are your emotions compared to when you compete? Are you more nervous for your students or for your teammates than you are for yourself?
It really varies. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, and I don't really know what the determining factor is with that. I think maybe sometimes I know a guy's gonna win. Sometimes I'm a little nervous. I mean, it just kind of varies.
Because
our guys are tested. I mean, we have a mean room. I mean, today we had today's Wednesday. We did our sparring day, and there's just so many killers in the room. I mean, I just know my guys are tested, so I don't worry too much.
it's a real shark pit.
Oh man! Today I was watching because Cody's got championship rounds, so I was watching the last few of his rounds, and he's got new guys rotating in on him, like Andre Feely and Peru's out of Japan is just coming in just for him, and he's got Anthony Avila, and he's got Lance Palmer, and he's got Alex Sandoval and Josh Emmett, all these guys that are fighting in the UFC or champions of other divisions or whatever, and it's just a grind, man. It's kind of nasty.
So the question I'm asking you is I mean, for myself, like when, say, Ian fights, or say when Babalu would fight and I would corner them, I would be more nervous for that fight because I'm not in control. When I'm fighting, I'm not worried about myself. I'm not afraid of getting hurt, and I'm in control. I'm the one who's making whatever happen. So that's what I'm asking. Do you have that kind of feeling where you've helped them as much as you can, but when it comes down to that moment and they lock the cage, you feel helpless?
Yeah, I've never felt nervous for myself the way I have felt for other people, and it's exactly that.
Well, Urijah, what is the main thing I would say that you're going to pass onto the rest of your fighters? I mean, you have such a big stable of studs. What's the one thing that you feel like you have to pass on to all these guys and girls?
I think it's the mentality. I had two coaches in college, both are great coaches, but one came from a lineage of Dan Gable, and then alongside Mark Munoz, who came along the lineage of John Smith. They're two of the best wrestling coaches of all time. And the mentality is the difference. Like at the end of practice with Coach Lenny Zaleski, he would have a talk, and he would get in people's heads, and he would make them believe in the championship mentality and the importance of hard work and have these techniques. And so that mentality is something that is really rich on our team. And then the second thing is just to enjoy our lives. It doesn't make sense to do all this stuff, if you're not having fun, if you're not enjoying your life, because it's fucking hard, dude. People in this world, one of the biggest fears on the planet is to be in a physical confrontation with another human being. And we do that every day for years and years and years and years with some of the most dangerous dudes out there. But if you're not having fun and enjoying it, it's just hard work. So those are the two things, the mental side and the enjoying the process.
So, Urijah, I believe you guys just opened a new facility, or you're opening a new facility?
Yeah, we're working on it right now.
Now, Urijah Faber is notorious for having multiple businesses going on in Sacramento, owning blocks upon blocks. He's like the Donald Trump of Central California, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm like the fighter businessman, which is like being the fastest turtle. It's not a big deal.
You're the tallest midget.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
What else is, other than the gym and some of the other stuff you have going on? I know you have some businesses with your dad, I believe, up there as well. Is there anything new on the horizon you have coming up?
I've got a lot of cool stuff, and a lot of it's related to the fight game, the gym, and the real estate stuff like that is part of what we're doing. The next generation of fighters, but we have some stuff locally. Vibe Health Bar, which is pretty cool, and Liquidology. It's a juice company, which I'm excited for, and then some entertainment stuff. I'm pitching a show right now with the Always Sunny in Philadelphia guys, which is going to be a riot. And hopefully it'll be on FX or one of the big stations. And I like entertainment stuff. So I think anything I do now on the next level will be always come back to real estate because I like real estate, but keeping around my passions, entertaining people, having the ability to do what I love and make my own schedule and make a living doing it. So entertainment, real estate, and the fight game. Those are my things.
There's a lot of irons in the fire. We like to hear it.
We always love hearing about fighters who have something else going on instead of these guys who I look at and I'm like, man, when you're done fighting, you're fucked.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And did you see Uriah in the Happy video, Ian?
I didn't.
In the tell him about that, Uriah.
Oh yeah. Well, first off, those guys hit me up a bunch of different times and I had no idea what that was. It happened to be on my little sister's 21st birthday, and she was in a car accident. She had her skull removed, and she wants, dancing and sort of thing. So they asked me to do this thing, and talk about uncomfortable. It was basically a 4-minute freestyle dance on the Hollywood Boulevard with a whole camera crew going, and my mom not understanding there's a wide-angle camera, and so she's like following like a weirdo in the street, like taking pictures and running out of the way. And it was pretty awkward, but it was pretty cool because it was a 24-hour video.
Yeah, super interesting that they had a 24-hour video going and they had, 20 people an hour times 24 hours. So 480 people do a 4-minute video dancing and lip syncing. How did you end up in that?
Yeah.
They just randomly called you?
Yeah, I got some of those YouTube videos of dancing or not, and they, like, whoever's in charge just was adamant about having me involved for the UFC. So I guess just because I'm known as being happy, I guess. I don't know.
They must have seen one of your walkouts.
Could be worse thing to be known as.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Well, Uriah, real quick, the last question I want to ask about is your boy's upcoming fight. Cody gets a shot at Dominic. You have a famous trilogy with Dominic where you got one and he got two. Tell me, are there more emotions in this, or are you trying to keep your emotions out of it and just focus on the job at hand, or is there more to this one?
There's absolutely, there's no emotion for me. The only emotion I have is I feel excited for Dominic Cruz. He's going to get his ass kicked by Cody.
We're not hearing you very good. Say that again.
I said the only emotion I have is I feel sorry for Dominic because he got his ass kicked by Cody. Cody is a fucking different animal. And I know, there's plenty of jokes being made. Dominic is very tough. He's a talented guy, world champion for a reason, and Cody's in the same boat. It's going to be a war for the ages, but I really feel that Cody has the tools to get it done, and I'm excited for that.
And I obviously you'll be in the corner, I assume?
I won't be. I'll be out there the whole week with him. He's got his uncle in the corner. I've been fighting. I've been training my guys right now. I'll step into that role a little bit more after my fight, but I'll be there, supporting the whole way. Okay.
Well, it's definitely going to be an emotional fight, and
oh yeah.
It's always exciting to see somebody who has an undefeated pro record go for a belt.
Finally.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you, man, I've been with a lot of guys in the room, and Cody is a different animal, man. He hits hard. A lot of people don't know about his wrestling pedigree. They don't know that he only wrestled his first 2 years in high school, and then as a senior, after not wrestling 2 years, got to go to the high school national tournament and took third without having any season for 2 years. He could have been a Olympic level wrestler, and he dedicated his time to it. But he's been boxing since he was a little kid. We're talking about a special athlete, dude. For real.
And when it comes to the emotional game and the verbal sparring, did you have anything to tell him? You say like, hey, listen, like Dom's gonna try to get in your head, just don't respond, or this is how you do respond, or what did you say?
You can't tell Cody anything about that. He's got someone's talking shit to him. He knows exactly what to say, and he's just raw and real. So that's what I was talking about with all this joking around.
Yeah, he's mad at Ian. He's not mad at me though.
Joking. Yeah, he's mad at me.
Oh. Ask him if I'm safe. He's really asking.
He said, I don't even know you, but I'm going to smack you up too.
Well, tell him I'm a little bit bigger than Ian. So good luck. I've been getting hit by Josh Barnett and Verdum all my life. So all right.
I'm telling you.
I'm not doubting you. I believe he hits hard. He's undefeated for a reason.
That's right.
I love how Uriah really asked him if I'm safe. You guys are awesome. I love it. I love it.
But hey, guys, congrats on your show, man. I heard you guys are doing awesome.
Thank you very much.
Reaching over, 100,000 people for
over 100,000 a month, yeah.
Congratulations, guys. Keep up the good work. You guys represent a very unique group, Not my type, but,
a little bit different.
You know what? Uriah likes to pretend he's super different, but I know Uriah likes to get a little bit weird like me and you and Jake Shields do.
Yeah, I can get weird on occasion.
He just hides it.
All right, dude. I'm going to get back to the spa, guys. Thank you.
Uriah, thank you so much. Tell your boy good luck. And Uriah, most importantly, good luck to you. I want to see your last fight go well for you. And I'm glad I was there in the beginning, and I'll be watching at the end, brother.
All right, bro.
Yeah, have a good one, man.
Thank you, sir.
Later.
There you go, Urijah Faber. All right, that was interesting. I love how Cody.
To ask.
I don't want to talk to Ian.
No, Cody came up to me in Cleveland and goes, so, someone, remember I said you wouldn't say it to my face. And I was just like, I was sitting with her and I was like, he's like, maybe I will. I'm like, what? Get the fuck out of here. I'll fucking slap you.
So I don't understand. Tell it.
Because I said a bunch of bad stuff about their team a while back. And he's like, you wouldn't say it to my face. And I was like,
what are you going to do? Punch me?
I'll fucking slap you. Get away from me. I'm supposed to be fighting in 3 days. Fucking beat it.
Yeah, see, with me, I think it's funny. Like, I'll talk shit to you. I'm not mad. No, like, it's funny. Because really,
they're frat guys. They get their feelings hurt sometimes.
How mad could you really ever be at Uriah?
I know you can't be mad at
Uriah's hilarious. He's awesome. Maybe when it really comes down, he's like a sweetheart. He's a tough dude, but he's a sweet guy. Welcome back to American Animals. You're hanging out with Ian McCall,
yes,
Erik Apple, and we just had Urijah Faber on, who fights against somebody that Ian knows rather well, Brad Pickett.
Yeah, I spent 15 minutes of my life in a cage with a man. You get to know someone pretty well, especially when you spend 8 to 10 weeks training specifically for that person. That should be a fight that Uriah should I don't want to say walk away with. Because Brad is very tough, but Uriah with his movement should definitely win that fight. Wrestling.
The one thing about Uriah is he's one of those guys that
you can never count him out.
In his first 15 fights, 20 fights of his career, he beats you with wrestling and ground and pound and guillotines.
Yeah.
And then he's like one of those guys who turned into a stand-up fighter, and you were like, "What?"
Everyone did that.
Your stand-up's good, but like you're a great wrestler. Yeah.
Everyone in the sport does that because it's entertainment.
Yeah, what is that? But it's just like
it's macho machismo.
It is.
Let's punch each other in the face, and then there's also the fact that it's entertainment. People want to see two men slug it out on the feet, even if they're not that good.
Whoa! But let's not say those guys aren't that good.
No, I'm not talking about them.
We're not talking about them.
I'm just talking about fighters in general. That kickboxing is one thing, boxing is another. But MMA, kickboxing, or striking is ugly, and it's not that refined yet. It will evolve with the sport as it has been. So it's just going to be a matter of time before we see really high level, beautiful kickboxing evolved into MMA.
Well, I could see Uriah using his wrestling, to easily win that fight. But I imagine he's going to try to make it exciting and stand up with him.
I did the same thing with him. I took him down when I had to, and I boxed with him at other points.
Well, Uriah's a man. I was there at his first fights.
Yes.
I commentated before anybody ever heard of him. I liked him then.
I saw him fight Romy. That was a long time ago.
I like him now, and I definitely wish the best for Uriah. And I even though Cody's got a bad attitude. It's okay.
That's how it goes.
I'm stoked that Uriah came on, so thanks to him. But we're going to move on to our in-studio guest,
yes.
Ian. In studio, we have the man behind the Green Bar Distillery here in downtown Los Angeles. It is none other than Melkin Khosrovian. correct? I pronounced it
Correct.
correctly?
Good. There we go.
Malcolm, welcome to American Animals.
Welcome, sir. Thanks for having us today. By the way, at your distillery, we went by for a tasting, and we got to go over a lot of things, and it was really informative and awesome. And I'm drunk, so it's great.
So Malcolm and his wife, they own a distillery, and now there's not many distilleries in Los Angeles, correct?
No, it used to be a desert for a long time. We started in 2004, and we were the first distillery in LA since Prohibition, and probably since 1860s.
Oh, wow.
And for 11 years, we were the only distillery in LA, while the rest of the country kept getting filled and filled. Now we have 3 in downtown alone. So it's good to get a little company.
The damn gentrification thing.
Competition, I know.
So
Hey, it's hipsterizing.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is it about having a distillery that people, it seems like it's a big deal. Why did nobody do it for so long?
Well, in other parts of the country where you have tons of distilleries, you have a big culture of brewing or winemaking. And that's the first and most important step to distilling. You have to make wine and you have to make beer. In LA, we don't have either one of those.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like too stupid to know better than to get into this industry. And we got into it by accident. But in other parts where, you have tons of brewers and tons of winemakers, it's a very natural step to become a distiller.
So let's go back to the beginning, unless you had a specific question.
What I was going to say, just because, in San Diego, you have all the beer, it seems. You have all the beer in San Diego, and then from
Microbreweries.
And then from Central California to Northern California, you have all the wine. And you have this fairly large gap in between, Orange County, LA, and kind of a little further, where we're now finally we have you guys. But for a while, that was nothing there, correct?
There was nothing there. You had maybe 10, 12 distilleries up north since late 80s, early 80s until the 2000s. And then, when we started, we were, I think, number 37 or 8 in the country. And most of those distilleries were in California because we've had such a long history of making beer and wine. And in the last 12 years, I think we've gone from 37 to 1,800. So it's a huge, mushrooming in the industry.
We should have been selling Is it a still?
Stills,
A
yeah.
We should have been selling stills. Damn.
Should have been hand
Would have
pounding
really
them.
come up. We got some copper.
The Levi's of distilling,
So now we talked about it earlier today. You and your wife have backgrounds as journalists.
We met in graduate journalism school at USC. I think we have the last diplomas from that school before it got gobbled up by Annenberg, and then, it became one school. But yeah, we met in graduate journalism school. 15 years ago, we got engaged, and we started to go around and introduce each other to our uncles and aunts. My side, being Armenian, we throw these big dinner parties where everyone toasts with, what.
We have some Armenian friends. It's always a good time.
Hey, anytime you miss us, go to Glendale.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, my side would continually toast at these big dinner parties where Liddy would be introduced to my relatives with shot glasses filled with fruit brandy or vodka, which, I'm used to, but to my, fiance, my future wife, tasted like something between jet fuel and nail polish remover. So she would very politely pick up her glass as everyone was toasting us and put it right back down because she just hated the way it tasted. And out of that little, kind of awkward situation grew our business. I started to make spirits at home, essentially just so she could have something to drink. And we would, put them in these beautiful bottles of, wine and, do a fake label so the cousins wouldn't think we were cheating. And of course, they, clued in pretty quickly, and they started to pick up on what we were making and serve it at their, friends and family gatherings, until we got to a point about 2 years into this where, it was us and then cousins and then friends of the cousins and then friends of friends, where we had to make a, we had to make a judgment of whether to get our number unlisted or go into the business. And we were having so much fun that we just got into the business, and 12 years later, here we are.
Now, the first thing you were making was vodka, correct?
We were making complex vodkas that would go with food. Okay. So not one ingredient things, but multiple things. For example, the first thing that I think I made that Liddy liked was a vodka flavored with pears, lavender, and vanilla beans. She thought that was kind of cool with food, what with desserts, tasty on its own. And ever since then, we've made these complex flavors with stuff we get at our Hollywood farmers markets, or spices that are common in lots of the cooking in immigrant cultures in LA.
Which you have a lot of them, so you have a lot of different variances of where to go with certain flavors. I mean, you have, whether it's K-Town or, Glendale where the Armenians are, you have so many spots in this general area that have so many flavors and so many cultures that it kind of seems almost endless as how many different ways you have to flavor things.
It's like a fire hose of flavor in LA. We live in one of the coolest parts of the world where we have, people from East Asia, South Asia, the Middle East, Mexico, all parts of the world bringing the best of their foods and melding them. It's not just like, oh, this is cool Chinese food, this is cool Thai food, but we've got stuff like kimchi tacos. Like, where are you going to get that other than LA? And that's the funnest thing about being in this industry, where it's all about flavor, all about the coming together of foods and cultures, and us as a distillery trying to represent that in form of high proof, libations.
I call it the Californianizing of anything. I mean, anything gets Californianized, it gets changed just a little bit, but it makes it very California, and I mean, it doesn't seem to ruin much. I mean, there's a few flavors out there that do get messed up with that sort of mixing of things, but overall, it seems to me, look what it did to LA. LA is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we're cooking the future.
Yes,
and sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. You have to crack some eggs to make that flavor combination. But we're kind of like, we're living on the bleeding edge of culture, and that includes food and beverage and flavors of all sorts. I mean, from liquor to beer to sodas to all kinds of food. It's being created here in a way that isn't being done anywhere else in the world, because we have the biggest concentration of giant ethnic groups, and we're all competing to show off the best we can make. And that's the fun part that we try to channel into spirits.
So I want to take a step back, and I want to ask about you personally, Milken. Now, did you always have an interest or some kind of thirst for knowledge or understanding of alcohol? Or you literally didn't think about it ever until you were married and your wife didn't enjoy drinking with your family?
If someone asked me 15 years ago, where liquor making would be in my career path, I would have put it like below 100. It was nowhere near, what I thought I'd be doing. I mean, I had a software company at the time. I'd studied journalism. I'd studied philosophy before that. This was the furthest thing from, I think, anything I would have imagined doing. Although, I have distilling on both sides of my family. Both grandparents distilled in Armenia.
Okay.
So, it was kind of in the back of my mind a little bit. But I think what drew me into it was the enormous amount of creativity that both Liddy, my wife, and I can channel into this new medium. It isn't just making liquor. It's really bringing all kinds of cultural flavors into a new medium. And because this is, kind of in the emerging stage, I mean, liquor right now is where craft beer was 20 years ago. And we're bringing things that never existed before into the forefront and hopefully changing the way people think about drinking. This movement to eating and drinking better has touched almost everything we put into our bodies. Now spirits are next.
So let's cross over to that. So one thing we talked about earlier today when we were at your facility, we talked about how you talk about, the food that you eat. You guys eat seasonal food. You eat fresh food. You guys really take care and pay attention to what you put in your bodies. And that's another reason why you got to here with creating your own alcohol, because you wanted to be in control of what you were drinking as well.
We did. And, that was partly kind of the way we think about food. Everything is seasonal, everything is fresh, everything should taste natural. And partly because of our complete and utter ignorance about how this industry works. I mean, when we got into it, we were making stuff at home in little jars with, stuff we bought at the farmer's market in Hollywood. After we started the distillery, we kind of went from 1-gallon jars to 5-gallon demijohns to 25-gallon, drums, and then 55-gallon drums. Now we make them in, 1,000 and 2,000-gallon vats and tanks. But along the way, nothing really changed. We just kept buying more and more. Instead of going to the farmer's market, we would meet our farmers under the overpass on their way to the farmer's market and then just to the exchange. Not realizing that using food for flavor was kind of weird. Nobody does that. Nobody did that at the time.
They use flavoring for flavor, right?
They use flavoring. If you want
Artificial
lemon flavoring, you go to the flavor company and buy drums of lemon flavoring.
The flavor company.
Yeah. Well, this is how perfume gets flavored, Pledge gets flavored, all kinds of cough syrups get flavored, and our alcohol gets flavored. All these, flavors come from the same plants. And when we started getting phone calls from these companies saying, hey, we read about you somewhere. We understand you make, like lemon flavored stuff. Where do you get your lemon flavor? And we tell them lemons.
And they thought it was the weirdest thing?
They thought it was the weirdest thing. Like, oh my God, you use lemons? That's insane. Nobody uses lemons. Everybody buys flavor of some sort, mainly from me. Why don't you buy lemon flavor from me? Like, well, we kind of like the way it tastes. They said, oh no, you don't know anything. You are going to get, you're going to go bankrupt because that stuff, it's not stable. It's not repeatable. You can't get the same flavor out of 3 different lemons. And then if you become successful, God forbid, what are you going to do? Zest thousands of lemons? Which is kind of what we do today.
Weird.
So what would your first words of advice be to somebody who wanted to take the crazy venture and do something like you did and start their own distillery?
Now I would tell them, go study this stuff. Before, when we started, there was nowhere to learn. We just did it on our own because, there was no school. There were no programs to learn this stuff. Today, there are. So first thing is go learn your craft because it's a lot cheaper to go take a course than open up a distillery. And the second thing is really understand who you are, because at the end of the day, no matter what you learn, no matter who you work with, you're going to make who you are. So just start with that. Be honest with yourself. If you're rough and tumble, you're going to make rough and tumble stuff. If you're sophisticated and subtle, you're going to make that. And everything in between. So be true to yourself. Understand what you are, who you are, what your background is. And then start trying to channel that into flavors. It's like being an artist.
I'm afraid of what I taste like. I don't know about you. I don't know if I bring myself out into some liquor, what that will be like.
I'm sweet enough.
There's an audience for everything.
Oh, boy. So tell us about what was it like for you? Because you said there was nowhere for you to go learn how to run a distillery. So
we kissed a lot of frogs. We made some stuff that was just horrid. But what I think separated our approach from most others.
I mean, literally the most basic question, like, did you literally just like have to like start going online and say, well, where do I buy a still? And how do I turn it on? Did it start there? It must have.
Well, at that time, there were a few still makers, mainly companies that make for giant, distilleries like Maker's Mark and Cruzan Rum, or in Europe, like the giant Scottish distilleries. A few made toy stills, kind of the lab stuff that these giant companies would use. And that's what we ended up getting, the little toy stills that big companies would use to test things.
Is that like the one you have in the back?
It's kind of the one we have in the tasting room.
Okay.
And slowly we graduated. Actually, we made our first still from drums. We just, Jimmy rigged up a still because it's doable. I mean, the process of distilling is not that complicated. To get a really well-made still that produces efficiently, that's a different story. So we bought one of those, and then we bought a bigger one. And then ultimately we ended up co-creating a still, or this becoming the beta site for a still that is the most advanced in our industry today. It's a continuous, infinitely fractionating column still that lets us find and bring into liquid any flavor that we fermented, which is the weirdest thing to do. But that's how we can control flavor. That's how we can produce the nuances in our alcohols that very few other distilleries can.
Yeah, it must be great to have. It's so interesting to me that you went from not really having any knowledge of this, not being in the big business like these other alcohol companies, spirit companies, and you went from, in just a few years, starting with the most basic still that you made yourself to the most advanced still that you can get in the world that can pull out any sort of flavor.
Being the beta test, like you said, you guys were the place that made this still happen.
You went from zero to hero real quick, my friend.
It helps being a control freak.
Yes, I'm sure.
Does your wife agree?
She's also a control freak.
Oh boy,
so,
how does that work?
So who's in control?
Being drunk slightly all day long helps a lot. That's a secret to our marriage.
Perfect.
But the thing that we've always strived to do is create flavors that are really nuanced and subtle. And to do that, you need control. And every step of the way, we try to exert control. From the way we ferment, which is the way winemakers ferment. It's not the way most liquor makers ferment. We ferment slow and cold, which is why our whiskey is called slow hand. The way we distill is incredibly precise. Probably the most precise way to distill among any craft distilleries, even some of the larger ones. The way we age, the way we flavor, everything takes a long time. Everything is hyper controlled because we don't have room to screw up. We don't have a lot of money to throw away. We don't have lots of tanks to make mistakes and then blend out the mistakes. We have to get it right every single time. And we've built this discipline into our business so that there is never, a huge chance to screw up because we can't afford it.
Understood. Well, with that, we're going to get to a song. We're going to come back in just a minute. And we have some more questions for Melkin about his business and about how you can come to his facility. You can get a tour. There's events there, and you guys can learn about alcohol yourself.
This is Erik Apple from American Animals, and if you're a real MMA fan, you know all about the UG, that's the underground, and mixedmartialarts.com. I'm on there every day, and so should you be. I'll tell you what, they do a podcast on Lineup Media FM every week, and it's hands down one of the best MMA podcasts out there. They get huge guests, and they do an incredible job getting access to every part of the sport. Check out the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and ugpodcast.com.
Hi there.
Hey, guys.
You're still here. We're still here.
I'm still here.
I'm still here. And Melkin's still here, most importantly.
Yes.
You're still hanging out with American Animals. You're either listening to us on the Dash Radio Network or the LMG podcast platform on toamericananimals.com. Maybe you found this on Twitter, on Facebook.
You never know.
Stitcher.
Social media.
I don't know. We're everywhere.
We are on Stitcher. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So before I forget, greenbar.biz is how you can find Melkin
Distillery
and his wife's business. So we're talking about how you got involved and how you transferred into this world of spirits and alcohol and how you got a still and how the steps you took. And now you have one of the most advanced in the world, Melkin. I want to know, tell us about your products. I know you have multiple products. Give us the view from the top down. And I know all your products are organic as well, correct?
Correct. We didn't start making organic spirits, but about 7 years ago, we switched wholesale because we were buying ingredients from farmers who had switched their farms to organic. And we noticed this insane level of flavor difference.
Really?
We would buy like 50 pounds of grapefruit for one of our products. All of a sudden, 30 pounds was too much because organic grapefruit from the same farmers in the same product was so much more flavorful because organic plants have to fend for themselves. They have to become healthier, dig deeper roots, and grow thicker skins to protect themselves because no one's spraying these things. And we're like, wow, this stuff is so much tastier.
That's really interesting.
We're going all organic. So we switched because of flavor, and then we realized that this is good for the planet. It's good for the drinkers.
It seems like a good selling point.
It's a great selling point, and it's in keeping with what we think of as the source of good flavor, which is natural products.
Is there much of a price difference between organic and regular on that level?
When we started going organic, everything cost 1.5 to 2 times more. Today, it's maybe 10% difference, but
Oh, it's close.
It's close. It's gotten a lot closer.
Is that because there's a much higher demand for organic, so it's become much more common?
That and we have grown, so we can buy a bit more, and we can get a better deal because now we're buying the entire product of a farm, for example.
Oh, really? Wow, big time over there, Melkin.
Small farms.
we buy the entire crop from a small farm.
I will take them all.
We'll take it all and turn it into all the spirits that we make at Green Bar, which ranges from whiskey to vodka to gin to rum to tequila, liqueurs, bitters, bitter liqueur. For the distillery, we also make brandy. So there's almost nothing we don't make. But what unifies them all, what ties them all together is the idea of making spirits so well that not only can you drink them on their own and enjoy them, but you can make simple drinks that, because the alcohols are so complex, end up tasting like you spent a lot of time making the drinks, although, they're 2-3 ingredient drinks.
Now, with the different variety of alcohols, did you find that once you're able to produce one with competence, does that spread to the others? Like you have a basic understanding and that transfers over?
Absolutely. It's almost like, like learning to draw. If you can, draw, you can draw just as well with crayons or lead or watercolors or oil. As long as you understand what it is you want to draw and paint, you can use any of those mediums. So for us, darker colors equal whiskey, lighter colors equal vodka, and so on. So it's just kind of getting the basics down and having the ability to tap your soul into what you want to say. As long as you have that and the basics of how to draw some flavors, you're all set. You can make anything.
Understood. Go ahead.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, with all the information that we got bombarded with today, with all the questions, and it's all relatively simple. All the variances between different alcohols and all this stuff. There isn't that much of a difference comparative to what I thought there was. So it's really cool to know that you can kind of cross everything, and you can kind of, the way you've done it all is just it's eye opening, and I like it.
We might have to face some tough choices as we grow because we have a small facility, and if one of our products takes off, we might have to put some in the vault and focus on a few, which always happens when you grow as a company.
Hey, those are good problems, sir.
Those are great problems, but we're kind of in the salad days of our business where we can have fun. We can have an ability to play around with lots and lots of ideas and hone our craft. We're still learning. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we've learned, but a lot that we're still learning. And we can make a lot of things that taste a certain way, which is kind of the way we think things should taste.
Well, nobody knows what you like better than you. The only
one who knows better is my wife.
I was just going to get to that as well. I want to know, were there any specific products that you had, that you were stuck on and a real problem with? Either you couldn't get it right or you couldn't make up your mind, as like you were stuck on, like it just needs a little bit more of this, or it doesn't have enough, it does too much of this, and something really, really stuck out to you?
There's one that we're going to bring out next year, and it's been a lifelong journey in a way. It's a gin that, for us, really captures the character of Los Angeles. And, we've done things that are kind of California-wide, like our bitter liqueur made with poppy flowers and all kinds of stuff that we discovered on our hikes in the mountains. But we wanted to do something that really captured the flavor of LA. And you've heard of gins that are like London Dry. They captured the flavor of what cosmopolitan London was like in the 1800s.
Sure.
But we wanted to do something with LA. And for us, LA, in the 21st century, where you have all these cultures bringing the best food they have from back home, Indian food, Thai food, Chinese food, Japanese, Mexican, Middle Eastern, all these flavors that if you live in LA and have eaten at a bunch of these places, you're familiar with. These are flavors that you're not going to understand if you're from Boston. But if you're an Angelino, these are things really close to your heart. Yeah. So for the last 3-4 years, we've been tinkering on with this idea of how do we bring these esoteric flavors that are really true to your palate if you're an Angelino, that, a gin that really represents our city. And that's something that took us a long time. We hit lots of dead ends, but I think we've struck a chord, and next year, maybe by the summer, we're going to introduce this new gin that's really a point of pride for us.
Wow. That was a good answer.
The Grand Poppy it is amazing the way the flavor it has. And
that's one thing that is a California thing that somebody from the East Coast wouldn't understand.
Yeah, that's the one that I think got us ready for the gin, and it's a bittersweet liqueur, kind of like Campari or Cynar or Aperol or Fernet. If you kind of have been to some of these hipster restaurants with bartenders that are kind of getting into the more complex spirits. And a lot of these spirits, a lot of these bitter liqueurs come from Europe, especially Italy. And these are flavors that if you've been up in the Alps, you understand, because these are flavors of the Alps, from the flowers to the herbs. And a lot of distilleries are kind of grappling with this idea of how do we make something as complex as an Amaro that is similar to the stuff from Europe. And they're doing a lot of the same things with the same flavors. And we're like, well, we don't live in Europe. We're not in the Alps. We're in California. Why don't we do something with things that really represent the coast and the highlands of California? And we go hiking a lot in Griffith Park, and I, by habit, just pick and smell and chew on things all along the trail, some of which are poisonous, and thankfully my wife is good at keeping me from eating all these things. But we gathered a lot of these things over the last 4 or 5 years and turned it into a liqueur that is bitter and sweet, is based on the California poppy flower, which is our state flower, along with California bay leaves, which only grow here, bearberries or manzanita berries. These are local plants, plus things that really grow here as if they were, pink peppercorn that you see on all the highway dividers, grapefruit, orange, lemon, geranium, rue, pink, all these things that
are readily available.
You can find in your backyard, you can find on your hikes, and we put them all together into a bitter liqueur that really captures for us what is California.
So, Malkin, I want to switch gears before we finish here. I want to talk about how people can come to downtown LA. They can come to Green Bar Distillery, and they can get tours, and you have events and classes.
Mm-hmm. One of the coolest things for us is really opening up to the community because, we were the first distillery for a long time. We're still the biggest one and the most complex for anyone to visit. And as, spirit lovers get more and more curious about where does my liquor come from? How does this stuff get made? They can come to Green Bar on every Saturday, take a tour and a tasting. We go through A to Z on how does a liquor, become the way it is. How does fermentation lead to distillation, lead to aging, lead to infusion, and go into your bottle of booze. You can learn all that at Green Bar on Saturdays. And then if you are interested in learning how to turn these into cocktails, on Friday nights, we have cocktail class where we give you kind of the basics of how to make a cocktail. We demystify it, we get rid of all the recipes, and give you some very simple rules that if you follow, you can make any drink, anytime, anywhere, down to, if you're in a friend's house and someone says, hey, can you make me a drink? After one of our classes, you can go into anywhere and make any drink that tastes awesome.
So you offer tours of the distillery as well as tastings and classes.
Yes.
That's awesome. I mean,
we've got.
What more could you ask
We've
for?
had about 2 tours now, 2 tastings, and it is.
And I still have more questions.
Yes,
we're still open.
Believe me.
For those of you who obviously weren't with us today, I was absolutely just tormenting Malkin with questions today. I wanted to understand everything.
Yes.
It's awesome. I mean, I'm really happy about the products. People can find you on greenbar.biz. We have your Twitter, which is at Green Bar Distillery.
Green Bar Distillery.
And your Facebook. They can find you on Facebook. Or
I don't even remember what that is. Our marketing director is going to kill me, but
let's just focus
there are
on
links on greenbar.biz.
Okay, so let's just focus on www.greenbar.biz as well as Green Bar Distilleries on Twitter. And man, people got to go out there and learn how to make a drink if you don't already. And if you want to learn about alcohol and spirits and how it's made and see how it's done and see the original distillery that's here in LA, then Malkin's your man.
Come check it out.
It's been a lot of fun, guys.
Thanks so much for coming. Man, I mean, this is one of the most genuine and just great guys we've ever had on the show.
I told you I'm going to bring in some. You asked for different guests.
We got a bunch of famous jerks.
We do. All of our friends are
It's like the most well-spoken, mild-mannered person we've had on here. He's awesome.
Just add booze.
Hey, listeners, Erik Apple from American Animals, and today's podcast is brought to you by Amazon. It's really easy to support American Animals. Before you shop at Amazon, and we know you all do it, go to our website. That's the number 2, AmericanAnimals.com, and click on the Amazon banner on the homepage. It's that easy. Remember, that's 2AmericanAnimals.com, and click the Amazon banner before you shop.
Okay.
Yes.
Man, after Urijah and Malkin,
Cody was in the background.
Is there, and just so everyone knows, I got a very interesting text of Urijah and multiple people in a shower.
Let me see that. Oh, that's what that was. I didn't see. They're preoccupied with Dane with
Uriah is killing me, dude.
Wonderful.
Killing me.
See, they're chest bumping in the shower as we speak.
Yeah, dude, such fucking jocks. God,
it's a lot of fun.
They're in the steam room. They're cutting weight.
We no matter what fighter you are, you live a good life. You have a good time. Whether you're one of them or one of us, you have a good time, and
it's all good.
Yes.
And Malkin, man, what a genuine, awesome guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude, and like I said, I'm gonna work on bringing in more interesting, educate, just different kind of guests. And I think we've been accomplishing that.
I think Melkin might be the one.
Yes.
You know what he is?
What?
He's the one Armenian who's not involved in some kind of fraud.
Shadiness. That's true.
Some kind of electronic fraud. I really don't think that he is, taking credit cards and buying, TVs in Indonesia on him.
I don't know.
I mean, I thought all Armenians are involved in some kind of crime, but he might be the only one who's not. Or he's just got us fooled that well.
I know that back when my dad was in the car business, that Glendale was the number one place in the country for auto, what was it?
Theft.
No, it was scams, automotive scams.
Yeah, they're all into fraud. They do fraud shit.
I'm just going off facts that my dad told me when I was a kid.
Yeah, of course.
He was running a car business. It's just what I was told. I don't know.
You ever seen Brow Down?
I have not.
Do you know what it is?
No.
So, the rap video Bow Down?
Yes, of course.
Some Armenian dudes, as a joke, made a brow down. They have a gigantic unibrow, and they have chest hair, chains, gold chains, big watch, smoking, driving a 3 Series BMW. Brow down. It's pretty funny.
I'm guessing it's fucking awesome.
I'll show you.
I'll have to look.
It's pretty amazing. So, Urijah having a good time. I'd like to see him go out on a big win.
I think he will. Brad Pickett is a tough guy, but that fight favors Urijah a lot. So,
well, we talked about it. What do you think about? We didn't talk about Cody. Do you think he has a shot against Dom? I don't really think he does.
Cody has dynamite in his hands. That kid hits really hard, and from a technical boxing standpoint, he's very, very good. He's a great wrestler. Don't know how his jiu-jitsu is because we've never seen it. But with that said, you're not fighting in a boxing match. You're fighting Dominic Cruz, who might not have the accolades you have in wrestling. But he will take you down. He doesn't
have the accolades I have in wrestling, that's for sure.
He will take you down. He doesn't have, he's not the best kickboxer in the world or boxer in the world, but he will touch you up with his hands. His kickboxing is so weird and so MMA based that, the world's still catching up to it. And he's been doing this forever. So it's something that I don't see Cody really figuring out, but he definitely could. He just has to touch, Dominic's head.
I just feel like Dom is just so cerebral, and
he is. He's the smartest guy in the game.
I think he is. Yeah. I really do. There's other guys who win because they're super athletes. There's other guys who win because their technique is so perfect. But Dom is just fucking smarter.
You got hard workers. You got Demetrius. You got raw talent. The John Joneses. And when it just comes to being smart and having a fight IQ, Dominic, and it's because his style is so weird. He was able to blend that with his fight IQ and make it work. How many other people can make that work? That is really odd. It has got him multiple titles in the world. He's the best 35er this world's ever seen. Pretty simple.
I think he's gonna have to fight DJ again soon.
I think that DJ needs it for.
DJ made $350.
Yeah, I know. It's pathetic.
I don't.
It is pathetic. And
what do you think that was a special deal because he's not fighting on pay-per-view, so he doesn't get any percentage of pay-per-view, so they just gave him $350 flat?
I don't know. I don't know what his whole thing is because it's all stupid.
If 5 years ago I would have told you Demetrius Johnson's going to get $350,000 for one fight
after defending the title 10 times or 9 times, well, that's ridiculous.
Is it live awesome? You just fucking like what? What?
It is so silly. The guy's getting taken advantage of. It's really simple.
Well, he is, but at the same time, if you compare it to how many people bought tickets to go see him fight, he's not. Nobody was there.
I know, I was there.
Nobody gave a fuck.
No one.
So it's
that's how it goes.
They have a weird spot with DJ. He's so good, but he's not selling tickets, and that's what really matters.
Exactly. So what needs to happen is I need to get my shit together and actually fight him because we saw this weekend that Tim Elliott. I don't want to say is subpar because he's not. He's a good fighter, but a guy that no one knows, no one cares about, that it never wowed anybody with all of his style and how technically good he was. He took it to DJ. Granted, he's very awkward and his style is very different, but still, it's freaking awesome, man. He took DJ to 5 rounds and almost caught him in some submissions and did a lot of really good stuff.
And did you see Tim Elliott got $100K flat?
Yep, huge.
Was that because he won the show?
I'm guessing that has to be it. So that situation is very odd, and I think it's sad. But that's not my life. If I was champion and I had defended the belt that many times, I'd be making Conor McGregor money.
Boom.
Sorry, I'm not sorry.
Boom. We're gonna finish with that, bitches.
Yeah.
All right. Ian McCall.
Peace out, motherfuckers.
Erik Apple. 2 American Animals.
Shoots.
On Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. www.2americananimals.com.
LMG.FM.
That's right. And thanks to bjpenn.com.
Yes, as always.
And to the Underground, MMA Underground, for putting us up every week. See you guys soon. See you next week.
This podcast was a presentation of lightupmedia.fm.